Just one day after what many could call the worst news of the Buffalo Bills season, they actually might get the best news of the season. Yeah, Tyrell Shavers, Gabe Davis both went down with torn ACLs, but the Buffalo Bills could be getting Ed Oliver back to this defensive line, potentially as soon as this Saturday. We're going to break down this recent development on today's show as you're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Tyler Smith. Before we do, though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel as we have finally taken the lead in the divisional round sub-battle over the Broncos breakdown, but I want to maintain that lead. I want to beat the Broncos off the field before we beat them on the field. So if you're brand new here, this is your first time seeing a Bills Breakdown video, go down below and hit that subscribe button, because when you do, you get free Bills content all the time, and we can beat the Broncos breakdown in a sub-battle. All right, so Ed Oliver was a limited participant at Wednesday's practice. He was also a limited participant on Tuesday, but as we know, that is a walkthrough practice for the Buffalo Bills, so really Oliver wasn't doing too much during Tuesday's session. But Wednesday, he was out there. He was doing all the team drills. This is a screenshot of a video of him running up and down, doing just little calisthenic workouts at the beginning of practice. But you see, he is wearing a massive brace there on his left bicep. So whenever he does come back, that's surely to accompany him onto the football field. Now, Thad Brown did also tweet this out. He was at Bills practice, and he also tweeted out a clip. We can't show you the clip, is what it is. But he said here's 25 seconds of Ed Oliver back at practice. He was excited for sure. Looked strong and fast from what I saw. Participated in just about every drill. And that's honestly great news. I know it says a little bit, but it means a lot more considering Ed Oliver has been dealing with this bicep injury all the way dating back to week 8. And now he had that setback in the recovery process with his meniscus. So the fact that he looks strong and fast, that's good news for Buffalo Bills fans. Now, what did Ed Oliver have to say about returning to practice? Well, we can hear right from him right here. He said, everything's good. My practice window is open. I'm open to go to practice. Contact everything. I'm ready to go. I feel kind of fresh, so a lot of guys don't feel like I feel right now. That sounds pretty encouraging to me. I mean, remember, like I just said, Ed Oliver had knee scoping done on that meniscus area as he had a little bit of a setback in his recovery process. So the fact that he says that I feel fresh, and you don't have to read between the lines to say that he feels better than a lot of the guys out there who have been getting banged up over the last 10 weeks or so. So this is great news for Buffalo Bills fans. Now, will he return to play this week? It's still up in the air, but him being a limited participant in the first 2 practices of the week is a pretty decent sign. Here's what he said, though, early on in the week about making an appearance in Saturday's matchup against Denver. He said, I just started walking through today, i.e. getting back to practice, so we'll see. Optimistic, excited, but I don't know yet. Look, we don't know yet either, and it would be fantastic if the Buffalo Bills got him back, but it is not confirmed just yet. If they do get him back, they're getting an absolute demon, man. I mean, they're getting a guy who could take on double teams and just wreck games from the interior of that defensive line. In just 3 games played, I know these stats are hard to believe. Many good players in the NFL have these stats over a 17-game set. He did it in just 3 games, 12 tackles, 7 TFLs, 11 pressures in the 3 games is ridiculous from the interior of the defensive line. 3 sacks through 3 games is even more insane. And he had a key forced fumble, that one forced fumble being on Derrick Henry that ignited the Buffalo Bills' 4th quarter comeback against the Baltimore Ravens that has basically set the tone for this entire season. So not only has he put up big numbers, but those numbers have come in big moments as well for 91. Somehow, some way, all the way up to now, with him only playing 3 games this season, he's 4th on the Buffalo Bills in sacks and 3rd on the team in tackles for loss. That's unbelievable. I mean, there has been a ton of turnover on the defensive line this year. You've seen Michael Hoyt go down. You've seen Landon Jackson go down. You've seen a bunch of D tackles miss time. Daquan Jones has missed games. TJ Sanders has missed games. Jordan Phillips has missed games, and he is injured for the long haul now. So there's been a ton of turnover on this defensive line for Buffalo. Hopefully, we can get a little bit more healthy here, and Ed Oliver can be a part of that group. Now, his presence isn't just putting up crazy numbers and getting those sack numbers and getting those TFLs and forced fumbles and making those big plays. His presence makes everyone else's life so much easier in terms of the pass rushers and also the other interior defensive linemen. How much easier do you think Deion Walker, the rookie, is going to have it alongside Ed Oliver out there? How much easier do you think it's going to be for Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa and AJ Epenesa to generate pressers when Ed Oliver is out there? Oliver's going to command a double team. And if he's not, then he's going to get to the quarterback himself. He makes everybody's life so much easier. As a matter of fact, 2 out of the Joey Bosa's top 4 pass rush grades on the season per PFF have come with Ed Oliver on the football field. So clearly, the veteran Joey Bosa feels a lot better when 91 is out there on the football field. Now, for this week, I know it's great news that Ed Oliver looks great at practice and all that good stuff, but him suiting up still feels like a long shot to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know any concrete messages that the Bills have conveyed to Ed Oliver or that Ed Oliver has conveyed to the Bills about playing this week, but it just does feel like a long shot at this point. And with the Bills having 2 open roster spots at this point, if you guys didn't know, wide receiver Tyrell Shavers was officially placed on injured reserve. That leaves the Bills with 2 open roster spots. Obviously, they swapped out Gabe Davis for Christian Wilkerson, but they had 1 more spot available after that, and now with Shavers going on IR, that opens 2 spots on the active roster for Buffalo. Now, who will end up filling up those spots? We'll tell you in just a moment, but I got to tell you guys first, if you guys want Ed Oliver to be back out there on the football field this week, do one thing for me. Go down below and hit this thumbs up icon. Hit the like button on today's video so we can manifest good vibes, manifest good health for our guy 91, and he can be out there on Saturday against Denver. All right, so the guys who could potentially be replaced or taking up those 2 roster spots this week, we had some full participants on Wednesday, guys who were on injured reserve, and safety Damar Hamlin and wide receiver Curtis Samuel. Now, I was reading a couple of tweets and stuff that we'll actually reference later on in the show about Damar Hamlin. The fact that he wasn't actually wearing a brace on his shoulder signifies that he may not be ready to go this week. But Curtis Samuel is all but guaranteed to get a call up to the active roster because that is a massive, massive priority. Did you not just hear the 2 guys who just went on injured reserve? Tyrell Shavers and Gabe Davis. And I'm not sitting here saying that Curtis Samuel is some sort of guy who fits that same profile, is along the boundary, blocking guys in the run game and all that stuff. But just the fact that he plays the wide receiver position and was on the active roster at some point this season makes it an even bigger priority being out there than it is for Ed Oliver. I know that's crazy to say. Curtis Samuel, a higher priority than Ed Oliver? That's crazy talk. But this week, with the situation the Buffalo Bills are in right now, it kind of makes sense. And especially when you consider what Curtis Samuel did last year in the wildcard matchup against Denver. 3 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And it was a touchdown that went 45 yards down the field. If he can make another big play like this, then all the trash talk, all the hate tweets that I've seen about Curtis Samuel, how much money he makes on this Buffalo Bills team, it'll fly right out the window. If Curtis Samuel can help send the Bills to the AFC Championship game, then all will be forgiven. This is your time to strike, and same goes for you too, Keon Coleman. Now, coming up next, we're getting to some more Bills injury news here that we need to talk about before this Broncos game kicks off, because we're getting more of a clear vision as to who will and who will not be suiting up this week against Denver in the divisional. We'll talk about it in just a moment. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor on today's video, as that, of course, is Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control with the best daily fantasy sports app in the game. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. Whether it's football, basketball, college sports, you can mix and match all these different sports and stat types and place them in the same Prize Picks lineup. You can also take multiple stat projections from the same player and put it in the same lineup using their new Stacks feature only on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now has an early payouts feature as well, where if your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. But I'm not so sure that would apply for my picks this week when I got Josh Allen getting in the end zone with his legs. More than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. And then the same goes for Puka Nacua. I'm just going with the superstars to get in the paint. Puka Nacua, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. You can tell my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right, and all that information is clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. All right, so non-participants on Wednesday. Guys that we could have expected to be on this list. Maxwell Hairston still dealing with the ankle. Doesn't look like he's going to be playing this week against Denver. Ty Johnson, his availability is really uncertain at this point. It feels like he's not going to be able to play for the second straight week here in the divisional round. And if he's being kept out of a game of this magnitude. That tells me that this ankle injury that he's got is a little bit more serious than we initially thought. Jordan Poyer, he did not practice either. I meant to put hamstring there. I just put DMP because I'm tired. It's late in the day. But Jordan Poyer obviously dealing with the hamstring injury. We knew earlier on this week that he was deemed week to week by Sean McDermott, and he's unlikely to go against Denver. Now let's talk about the guys who were limited. We'll get a little bit more in depth on these because there's a chance they play, there's a chance they don't. So we got to talk about them. Terrel Bernard still dealing with the calf injury. Like I've mentioned to you guys previously, I would not start Terrel Bernard, especially if our guy Shaq Thompson, who you also see as a limited participant, he was wearing a non-contact jersey, is able to go and start against Denver. Shaq Thompson's been playing like an absolute demon basically the second half of the season since he rejoined the roster. Terrel Bernard, maybe not so much, and especially coming off of a calf injury, I don't want to put that much pressure on him as the starting off-ball backer. AJ Epenesa dealing with a neck injury. We'll talk about that further in a moment. Dalton Kincaid dealing with a knee and the calf now. I mean, the calf popping up is certainly something of note. They had a boot on his foot after the game, but they said it was just precautionary. He should be good to go. Matt Milano dealing with an ankle injury. What's the playoff injury report without Matt Milano on it? Greg Rousseau with a back injury. Looks like he just stiffened up a little bit during the game. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then Shaq Thompson, like I mentioned, red non-contact jersey. He's dealing with a neck injury. We'll monitor his status. Hopefully he's able to go because the Bills absolutely need him. Now talking about Epenesa a little bit here. Very quickly, he didn't miss any time against Jacksonville, but he did have tape on his neck this week. He's a limited participant. Epenesa is a tough guy, and I think he's going to make it through and be able to suit up against Denver. Now, in terms of Matt Milano, let's talk about him real quick because Banged Up Bills put out a pretty good in-depth description about what exactly caused this injury here. They said he got his ankles tied up with a Jacksonville player, and then the left ankle gets landed on, but the right ankle gets tied up too with about 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he was able to finish the game and didn't require much attention from the Bills medical staff and trainers. So, yeah, this is probably more of a hurt than injured situation. I don't think it's going to be something that keeps him out of the ball game. Now, in terms of Greg Rousseau, Groot, because we're going to need him out there. He made a big play against Trevor Lawrence in the wild card. He absolutely is necessary against this Broncos offense. He had several defenders fall on him with about 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter as well. He got his back worked on by doing some prone press-ups with physical therapy over pressure. And then he could have had some tightness and spasms to try and work it out before it stiffened up some more. So he should be fine. Like I'm really not reading too much into all this as far as the guys who are limited. They better be out there to go because it's the postseason and shit really matters. In terms of Dalton Kincaid, what Banged Up Bills had to say about him, he said he does land with his foot and heel flat, which could have caused the calf injury, but it doesn't look like a lot is there. That's good news to me. It sounds like these guys are going to be ready to go based on everything that the number one Bills injury insider on Twitter is saying. Look, guys, this is the playoffs. You're going to be hurt. You're going to feel it. You're going to wake up sore. That's just the reality of the situation. How bad do you want to go out there and lift a Lombardi trophy? That tells me who will and who will not be on the field this week for your Buffalo Bills. Now, in terms of full participants on Wednesday, this is great news here. Josh Allen, full participant on Wednesday. He should be good to go. Damar Hamlin, obviously full participant, as well as Curtis Samuel, who we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. We'll see if those two guys end up getting elevated. I'd say it's very more likely that Curtis Samuel gets elevated than Damar Hamlin. I saw some theories about Curtis Samuel potentially being like a shadow IR guy, just on there for no reason because I don't know, he's been healthy longer than people have actually thought. Excuse me. And then Matt Prater is also a full participant. He was limited on Tuesday, didn't kick or anything like that, but he is going to be kicking toward the end of the week here, dealing with the quad and the calf. The fact that a calf injury popped up for him does worry me a little bit, but he was perfect against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card game. Look, as long as 17's out there, it doesn't matter. Like, come on, guys. As long as Josh is out there, no matter how many wide receivers get hurt, no matter how many, I seriously, hurt them all. Don't care. No, I'm serious. Very, very much kidding about that. But, guys, as long as 17 is out there, I don't think he's losing a football game. So I'm pretty confident heading into this Broncos matchup. If he's healthy, I'm feeling healthy. In terms of the Broncos, they're very healthy. Same exact injury report as Tuesday here. You got John Franklin Myers, full participant. Dre Greenlaw, the one name that really is of note here on their injury report. He was limited again, and they expect him back in this matchup. And then Lucas Kroll and Drew Sanders, both limited as well. Every member of the 53-man roster for Denver practiced on Wednesday. Insane that they're this healthy coming into this game. But hey, just more for 17 to overcome as we have come to know at this point. Who do you got in this divisional matchup? Let me know in the comment section loud and proud. I want to see 500 BUFs down below. If you got the Bills, type buff. If you got the Broncos, type den. Let me know down in the comment section who you got for this divisional matchup, as that will do it for today's show. Make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith, 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, youtube.com/Bills News. We will be live on Saturday for this Bills and Broncos game, so join us then. And as always, let's go Buffalo.